Hello, good morning. Welcome back to my channel, Hocantalk. Now, today's topic is quite relevant to a lot of people because I think recently a lot of people has been talking about income inequality. So today, this video, I'm going to talk about why people say there are income inequalities and what are the measures, what are the things that confirm there are or there are income inequalities in certain country. So the key formula or the key benchmark that they use is something called the Gini Coefficient. So today I'm going to again use a paper and pen to give you a very good briefing of what is a Gini Coefficient, so that you know what are the formula or what is the formula being used to calculate income inequality and how it's being calculated compared to other countries, where do we stand and whatsoever. This video is not going to zoom in just on Singapore. Indeed, the coverage on Singapore will be very little. I wanted to give a global view about this measuring of income inequality, and you form your own opinion whether is this an accurate measurement of income inequality or there should be some further improvement to the measurement. Now, if you look at the first slide, Gini Coefficient, Chinese is called 基尼系数. Now, this is a formula, this is a way of calculating income inequality invented in the year 1912, many years ago. So, in the year 1912, there's an Italian who is called Corrado Gini. He's a statistic. He's an economist, and he actually come up with this calculation to define whether a country is facing income equality or inequality. Okay, now I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this, but again, this video is not going to teach you the detail of how this formula is being derived, how to calculate the numbers, but this is beyond the coverage of this video. But I will teach you why a lot of countries in the world are using this and what does it mean. Okay, now for Gini coefficient is actually a numbers between 0 and 1. 0 and 1, and later I'll cover that. But before that, there are actually two inequality index under Gini coefficient. The first one is called income inequality, and this one I'm quite sure recently you have been seeing a lot in the newspaper, in parliamentary speaking and all these things. But again, there is also one more called the wealth inequality. Wealth inequality. So for Gini coefficient, there are something called the income inequality and the wealth inequality. Now, wealth inequality is always bigger than income inequality because wealth includes something like stock, shares, property, cars, all kind of assets that someone owns. So assets, most of the assets appreciate in value, like gold, silver, and share price or shareholding, share portfolio. So wealth inequality will always be bigger than income inequality because rich people are able to accumulate more asset, and this asset will appreciate over time, and their wealth level will go up even further. So in this aspect, wealth inequality is always much higher than income inequality, but most of the time we will only talk about income inequality. Now, the numbers that for Gini coefficient used will be between a number 0 and 1. So 0 means very equal. 0 means everybody earning the same amount of salary for income inequality. So if a country report a 1, that means it's very unequal. That means someone draw very high salary and another group of people draw 0 salary. So when come to this extreme case, this is 1. That means not equal at all. If everybody drawing the same salary, then it will become 0, very equal. Now in this case, these 0 and 1 numbers apply both to income inequality and the wealth inequality measure. So both are applicable. But like I mentioned, the wealth inequality numbers will always be higher than the income inequality. So now let's come to some observation about this coefficient, the Gini coefficient. Now, if you look at globally, you can see that countries with high taxes, strong welfare, more equal. Meaning country that tax all the people with high taxes and give out very strong social welfare coverage, the Gini coefficient is much lower, meaning they are more equal. That means there are less income inequality. Because in this country, those who earn more pay more taxes, and the social welfare system applied to all is not targeted at certain group of people. So there is very strong redistribution of wealth and income to the whole spectrum of the citizen. In country like this, income is more equal rather than unequal. Now, what happened to those countries with low taxes and weak welfare? I'm not saying Singapore, but I'm just saying that if you look at globally, countries with low taxes and weak welfare are less equal. I mean, this is easily understood because if you apply lower taxes rate, those who earn more on a percentage basis, on a contribution basis, will definitely pay less tax. Those who earn less on a percentage basis will definitely pay more tax. So, country with lower taxes, weak welfare system will generate more income inequality. This is no choice. And also this is how Gini coefficient equality index being calculated. So the index is calculated in such a way that if someone earn $1,000 compared to someone earns zero, then it's highly unequal. If someone earn $200 and someone earn $300, then it's more equal. So the smaller the gap between the highest income earner and the lowest income level will produce higher income inequality. The smaller the gap, then you have less income inequality. So now, looking at the numbers, how do we do the interpretation of a Gini coefficient? Now, generally, globally, everybody recognizes that if you are below 0.35, then you are considered quite equal, meaning low Gini, 0.35, if you look at the slide. But if you fall between 0.35 to 0.45, then you are considered moderate Gini, medium Gini, meaning you are not really unequal, but moderate inequality. Okay, there are some income inequality in the society or in the country. Now, if you are high Gini, meaning above 0.45, then you are considered income unequal. That means a lot of people are earning, the gap between the high income and the low income is much bigger. Now, are there any limitation to this Gini coefficient? The answer is yes. So let's zoom into the limitation so that you can form your own opinion, you can form your own idea. When you look at numbers published by all the countries in the world, you can form your own opinion whether is this number accurate, reflective, or appropriate to judge a country inequality or equality. Now, for the limitation, number one, for Gini coefficient, you cannot tell who is rich and who is poor because they are measuring the difference between the rich and poor. So you won't know who are the rich people, who are the poor people. You only know the gap in between. Number two, different income distribution pattern can produce the same result. What does this mean? For example, if someone earned $400 and $200, it produces the same Gini as someone earning $800 and $400. So it's 50% difference. So despite the fact that the absolute amount are so different, the Gini coefficient are still the same. So a Gini coefficient of 0.45 does not mean that, only means that the gap is very wide, but it doesn't show you where does the starting point and the ending point falls between. So the same number at a lower threshold can produce the same Gini efficiency index number compared to someone at a higher level. Okay, so this is the limitation of the Gini inefficiency coefficient. Now, there are also another limitation that this calculation purely only based on income. They don't care about education, they don't care about healthcare, they also don't care about defense and security. I know recently Singapore, a lot of people talk about the NS pay, the salary for the national service soldiers and all these things. So does the salary of the national service soldier being calculated in the Gini coefficient? I mean, nobody know. I don't know. But again, I don't want to guess. But from the theory, a Gini coefficient does not is not able to cover education, healthcare, and defense security kind of contribution or sacrifice provided by certain group of people, and or apply to certain group of people, like you have aging healthcare and all these things. So does it bring the income more equal or less equal? These are the limitation of the Gini coefficient, which they are not able to measure. Now let's do a comparison between Singapore and other countries, but again the focus is not on Singapore. I just want to give a global view. Now, only for income inequality, because the wealth inequality is always very, very, very high, meaning it's always unequal because of the accumulation of asset. The rich people always have more asset, and the asset will appreciate in value over time. So a lot of countries don't use the wealth index to showcase to the population or to the general public. They only use the income inequality, which only measure income, nothing else. So Singapore, we have a index, we have a number 0.35, so it's moderate unequal because it's at 0.35. Anything below 0.35 is considered more equal. Now for Europe, it's 0.3 to 0.35, so they are better than Singapore. They are more equal because a certain part of the Europe have very, very strong social welfare system and high taxes. Now, if you look at the Nordic region, which is high taxes, very strong welfare, you can see that the Gini coefficient, the index is much lower, meaning income are more equal in this country. But how about US and UK? I mean, US, UK, they do have high taxes, they have moderate social welfare, but how come their Gini coefficient is much higher than Singapore? Because of the nature of their structure of their economy. For example, these two places are very good in high tech, financial hub and all this. So because of the structure of the economy, which focus more on high tech, financial, logistics services, this industry generally will have people who draw much higher salary compared to those people who work in F&B, other kind of low level service provider. And so that's a reason. The economic structure will also create an inequality in the income gap, because if the economy is concentrating more on high tech, high value adding financial hub, then those people who are fortunate enough to have the knowledge, experience to get a job in this sector will definitely earn a much more income compared to those people who are working as a cleaner, as in the F&B, as a waitress and whatsoever. So now let's zoom in on Singapore. A lot of people has been talking about Singapore, whether is Singapore income unequal or equal. So again, we have to look at the numbers published by the government, which is 0.35, which show that Singapore is moderately unequal. But the government is putting effort to make everybody this, to improve the figure. The figure was much higher in the past as compared to what has been released by the Ministry of Finance. Now, of course, like I mentioned, the economic structure of Singapore is also similar to New York, London. We are a financial hub. We have high tech. We focus on very high-end services. So people who are in this industry generally will have a very much higher salary than those people who are cleaner, in the F&B, logistic, warehousing, support role, admin, clerical. Definitely no choice. So this is one of the contributing factor because of the structure of the economy. And number two, of course, like I mentioned, countries who have overall lower taxes will create more income inequality. This is from observation from all the numbers globally. So this is something that is due to the taxing structure, how taxes is being rolled out. Number three, Singapore does not have a well-spread social welfare, but instead they have a targeted welfare. So they target certain things, certain support to a certain group, like the CDC voucher. If you are certain age and above, you have certain privileges, blah blah blah. So these are all targeted help, which is not so-called a widespread countrywide social welfare. So all these are the contributing factors to why income is moderately unequal. So now we are almost coming to the end because I do not want to go so deep into the technicality or how this formula is being used. But there are some points to think for my viewer to think. So now you know that 0 mean very equal. 1 mean not equal. So I want my viewer to think. So I the next slide I actually put points to ponder for you to think over. Now, if a country, the government provide public housing, so like in Singapore HDB, is this a contributor to income equality, or is not a contributor by just a stabilizing? That means provide someone with a basic necessity, but it doesn't bridge the gap between high income and low income. So for public housing, generally the answer is it is not an equalizer. It doesn't close up the gap, but it's a stabilizer, meaning it stabilizes the whole society, the economy, by trying to squeeze asset into the hands of majority through the help of the country to make sure that a lot of people are more asset equal than income equal. Because income depends on your work skill, your salary and all this. But in terms of public housing, it should be considered an effort to do asset equal, but not effort. It cannot be considered as an equalizer for income. How about pension system like CPF? In the case of Singapore, in other countries also got pension, in China also got pension. Is it a stabilizer or equalizer? Now, for pension system, again, is sad to say it's just a stabilizer. It provides basic after retirement cash flow needs or system to look after majority of them, the citizens who have been working or who had a job, who has a job. But again, the ratio of contribution to this system is again linked to your income. So if you have higher income, you contribute more. You have low income, you contribute less. So for those who are more higher income earner, they will have more pension for them. So again, this one does not solve the problem of income inequality. Okay, it's more or less like a stabilizer. It stabilizes everybody's livelihood after you retire. Now, another two more points I want to talk about is how about education? Education system in the country, does it contribute to income inequality or is a stabilizer? Now, for education system, depend on how the country government roll out this education. Is it a meritocracy or is it a stratification? Meaning meritocracy meaning that depend on how good you are. If you did well in the school, then they will give you wonderful job. They will path the career for you. They will do whatever thing that makes sure you are useful to the whole system. Stratification meaning that they actually categorize people according to their capability. So if you are lousy, then you are being grouped into another group, or you are supposed to do something low level. Now, is education a stabilizer or an equalizer? I think a lot from the observation globally, a lot of people think that education does not contribute to equality in income, because those who are rich is able to spend more on tuition, send the kids for better background. The kids doesn't need to go out and earn a living, so they got more time to study. The rich can bring the kids overseas for more immersion, to understand understand the world better, or there are more opportunity, and the rich has more network, so their children will have connection to some more people compared to the poor people. So again, education is not an income equalizer. It's also not a stabilizer. So if the education is run in such a way that those who are able to afford better income, better education, then it will create income inequality. That's the reason why you see China under Xi Jinping recently banned all kind of unnecessary tuition in China. No, all the private school and all these things, even you are listed on NASDAQ, listed overseas, their business overnight just wipe out, because Xi Jinping doesn't want to see education system to create the income gap between the rich and the poor. How about social welfare? Now, social welfare, I explained many times. Social welfare is a contributor to the equality in income. So social welfare is an equalizer. It's not a stabilizer. It could be a stabilizer, but the impact or the users of social welfare is more equalizer. If the country roll out a lot of social welfare, then the equality or income equality will narrow. Now, let me give you some example. Now, just how I mentioned, a country that have low taxes will be more unequal. But if you look at Brunei, in this case, if you look at Brunei, Brunei Gini coefficient is 0.35, just like Singapore. Then people might argue, hey, how come Brunei got no tax and yet their income inequality is not much higher than Singapore, which implements some taxes, despite the fact that it is considered lower than many countries. Because the answer is because Brunei has very, very overwhelming social welfare. A lot of things are free: medical, education, healthcare, a lot are free. So the government also pump in a lot of things like free housing, because of the oil income. So and because of the strong welfare, it more or less compensate for zero taxes, and that's why the income inequality is at par with Singapore, despite the fact that they have no taxes. Now, if you look at the other end of the spectrum, you look at Dubai, which does not publish a Gini coefficient, so we look at UAE. Surprisingly, now this is a country with no taxes and also very high social welfare. So surprisingly, it should be much higher than Singapore. But again, the Gini coefficient is at 0.26, meaning they are more equal than Singapore. So a lot of people might ask, hey, why are these so? So again, there are a lot of questions being raised. Number one, there are very concentration of wealth in the local citizen because of oil income. So the whole country is the wealth is owned by the local population, and they are more or less a cluster, and the rest of the population, most of them, the working class or the foreign worker, whether are they being included into the calculation, nobody know. So again, this is some of the example. Certain country has low Gini, but a lot of people still worried whether Gini coefficient is the right measure for income inequality. So again, this video that do not want to provide any drastic view on whether is it right or wrong to use the Italian formula, someone who invented in 1912, or should the formula be improved whatsoever due to the limitation. Again, this is not the purpose of this video. This video is to introduce what is Gini coefficient, the limitation, so that you can form your own opinion, and why the Gini coefficient will be affected by public housing, by social welfare, by education system, by taxes. So again, these are all the things that for my viewer to think over, so at least it will help you to improve. Now again, if you like my video, you can see that my video is very concentrated on actual substance, so that you learn more. You don't see I do up my hair or change my clothing. So again, my focus is to impart my knowledge and skill to you, and hopefully in exchange you can subscribe to my video, because it's really, again, not easy to do a video. I am pouring out all my experience and knowledge to guide all of you free of charge. And if you are in a workplace, you ask people about all these things, a lot of people are reluctant to teach you, because why should they teach you? But again, I'm a retired person. This is a YouTube. I look forward to your support. If you don't support me, then I don't have the motivation to continue. So if you like my video, if you benefit from my video, please kindly subscribe and also forward my video to all your friends. Thank you very much. Thank you.